Hi, everybody. My name is Anita Modi. I'm the CEO and founder here at Pierre AI. Do you introduce yourself?
This is Xinjiang Wu. I'm from Biogen. I'm responsible for the initiative of generative AI in regulatory writing. So glad to be here.
Thank you. And we're excited to present today on how we're reimagining CSR authoring with purpose-built AI agents. To orient everybody a little bit about this problem space, all of us working in this industry know that documentation is the lifeblood of drug development. If you think about a drug's journey from CMC through preclinical, clinical, and ultimately through commercial, this entire journey is really gated by documentation. Documentation is the basis on which regulatory bodies ultimately make decisions about the progression of a drug. If you look at every approved drug asset, on average, there's 100 to 200,000 pages of documentation across 1,500 unique documents. Over a third of submissions actually have quality problems, and over 75% face rejection. On average, this is 426 days of delay. So if you think about every day that a treatment is ultimately not reaching a patient. Pierre AI is addressing this problem space. We are a team of AI engineers and medical writers, and we've built an agentic AI platform for biotech and pharma companies to author different types of documents, all the way from modules of the IND, startup documents like protocols and ICFs, all the way to the submission side, things like clinical study reports, plain language summaries, safety narratives, IBs, and more. So what does agentic AI mean? I'm sure you've heard of that buzzword a lot during this conference. Agents are autonomous functioning capabilities. Think of a team of agents that are working hand in hand with medical writers. Agents that ingest data and know how to contextualize it. Agents that map data to documents. Agents that author different types of content, graphs, figures, different types of in-text tables, or all different types of prose. Agents that QC. We have a platform of these agents that work with medical writers to author different types of documents. We have an entire interface designed by our medical writing team to work hand in hand with this technology to accelerate authoring across different types of documents. Our medical writers design this based on their own experiences of how they've done authoring, but also looking at how do you leverage and capture the power of AI and apply it here. Our medical writers actually go a step further. They help our customers at the end of the day with things like training, onboarding, and ultimately a peer-to-peer deployment model. So core to our belief, and the reason why we have medical writers here in-house at Pierre, is our view that to truly unlock time savings in this space, you have to have the right balance between AI automation and human verification. For lack of a different phrase, AI is incredibly powerful. We know it's fast, we know there's intelligence, but when you're talking about something as complex and nuanced as regulatory documentation, it has to be kept on a short leash. So it's really critical not just to think about a human in the loop, but where the human is in the loop and how the human is in the loop as well. Humans are required in this circle to verify, validate, course correct, and apply AI thoughtfully. And our view is that if you get that loop right, that's ultimately how you scale regulatory workflows and get to the best end product faster. How does this actually look? Let's take it in the context of a CSR, clinical study report. In our workflow today, the humans are loading all of the source context that you need. So for a CSR, this can include your protocol, your SAP, your TFLs. It may include a customer-specific template that you use for authoring or a customer-specific style guide. We have different agents then that step in that know how to ingest that data, put it into the right schema, as well as then our document-specific agents. What does that mean? We have, for example, a CSR agent. A CSR agent understands the outcome of what makes a really good CSR based on all of our experience writing these documents. It knows how to take all of that source data and knows what exactly it needs the protocol, it needs this from the SAP, this from the TFLs, and ultimately map it to write a document. This is where one of our first human control points comes in. A human looks at this, agrees with the mapping, very comparable to a traditional workflow where you're mapping data to templates, and can change that structure, can add anything, can add new data, and then goes to the next step of authoring. This is where we have different authoring agents that step in that know how to put together the right in-text tables or the right figures, the right graphs, different types of prose with abbreviations and citations. Then we have a whole UX for the medical writer to come in and look at that. They can edit it, they can revise it. No prompt engineering required. It's all through things like chat or even direct editing and other tools. We have QC agents that come in and check that, and then humans that can also QC and trace all content back to the source data as well. Really looking at how do you bring in human control at the right points and then leverage the power of AI. And we're continuing to extend it. One of the things we have in development is, for example, AI-powered reviewing and AI-powered commenting that goes hand in hand with human reviews and human commenting as you think about, again, the progression of getting to final documents as well. I'll turn it over to Xinjiang to talk about this in practice.
Thank you, Anita. Here I walk you through our journey of implementation of PAI in our CSR authoring. We began from the proof of concept. We picked up a relatively straightforward phase 1 study and more complex phase 3 pivotal study. And then we invited a panel of the reviewers, including the medical writers, medical editors, using the predefined metrics to evaluate the outputs. And based on the BART results, we found the turnaround time significantly reduced. And in terms of document quality, it's with a satisfactory result. We moved forward to a side-by-side evaluation. We use the general AI to authoring CSR for ongoing phase 1 studies. Another group of medical writers evaluate results to compare the output delivered by PAI compared to the CSR delivered by human medical writer. Based on all the evaluation, we moved forward to the implementation stage. We deployed the PAI SaaS system in Biogen, and we started to use PAI in all the Biogen's phase 1 studies. The overall goal is to enable Biogen to empower medical writers or Biogen to draft the CSRs with speed and with good quality. Over to you.
It's exciting to be in the life cycle of a company where we can now show value document over document as well. Xinjiang has mentioned in every document that we've authored, we've been looking at the time to getting to a really high quality first draft and then also measuring the quality of the output, which I'll talk a little bit more about. What's been exciting is in our continued work together, we've seen the time that it takes to get to this first draft continue to go down while the quality continues to go up. You see really compounding value document over document. And a lot of this goes back to the agentic architecture that we've put in place. Our CSR agent and the team of agents that we have learns every time from these documents, from the input that's put into our system, even from outside input given from Xinjiang and team, and learns to apply that to the next iteration. We're able to get to higher quality faster each time around, even between the first and the third CSR hitting that additional 50% as well. It's exciting to see really that promise of AI in the long term really play out. I think it's important to spend some time talking about quality for AI-generated content. How do we think about what good looks like? When I started Peer, I interviewed dozens of medical writers to say, tell me what good means. And out of that, we developed a smart scoring rubric that looked at some of those key components. For example, data accuracy, looking at consistency and completeness of any document, as well as readability. We've also looked at things like adherence, for example, to Biogen's template and their style guides as well, and scored every document based on that. I think there's also the path to getting to good quality, and it really comes out of continuous improvement. As Xinjiang outlined, in the process of doing the POC and evaluation and continuing to scale, every iteration we learn from and apply that back. I think that's really the power of this entirely new technology paradigm at the end of the day. One thing Xinjiang said to me early on in our collaboration was that in this space, quality is time. You have to look at them really together. And what that means is if you're able to get to higher quality faster, you ultimately save so much time downstream, whether this is continued editing, continued reviewing, or review cycles that happen further down. Our early results are starting to show that potential of overall reduced cycle time, which should ultimately lead to cost savings for our customers at the end of the day. So we look at quality really across this broader horizon.
Thank you, Anita. Our collaboration with PAI is almost a year. I have some insights to share here. During the whole process, we realized a few things. One thing is the raw clarity matters. When medical writers had a better understanding on the evaluation and a better understanding of their responsibility with AI, then it turned out the adoption became faster. A second piece is the medical writers are more receptive if we frame it as augmentation, which means to enhance the expert judgment rather than automation. That means perhaps replacing medical writers. Another thing is during the whole process, when medical writers co-created all the workflows, and turned out this AI-related process can led to more engagement and more adoption. During this process, we realized the medical writer became the AI strategic leaders. They can bridge their clinical expertise and the technology. Looking forward, our collaboration with PAI, we're more focused on expanding the more document types. Currently, we use it in relatively straightforward documents such as phase 1 CSR. In future, we plan to expand into the more complex phase 3 CSR and also the IB and even Model 2 documents. And also another priority is we want to embed the generative AI in our current process, such as our SOP, our job aid. And also we need to involve different functions in the process, clean dev, PV, safety, and it's very important for AI adoption in a cross-functional team. Eventually, we expect this automation, the document generation, will accelerate our major submissions such as NDA or BLA. During this process, very important to train the future-ready workforce, which means medical writers should receive the training because their role in future perhaps is an AI navigator in clinical development. With that, I conclude our presentation here.
I'm going to add one thing before we conclude. I think the big thing for looking ahead and what I'm the most proud of is just having the right foundation for a partnership. And what that means to us is ensuring there's trust, ensuring there's transparency on both sides, from our end sharing what AI is good at and not good at, and from Biogen's side sharing a lot about internal processes and where we can support, ensuring there's aligned incentives right from the start. That's been important for us to have in place as partnerships, knowing that we're kind of all on this frontier together on what the future of AI-supported writing looks like. Grateful to have the support of Biogen as we're reimagining CSR and additional authoring as well. Thank you.
All right, any questions?
Hi, I have a question about the hallucinations and AI, and we are operating in a regulated industry. Can you share any insights on how you are coming around those AI hallucination effects in a regulated industry?
Yeah, I'm happy to share a little bit, and then Xinjiang definitely weigh in. I think early in the peer journey, we saw a lot more hallucinations and quickly learned what some of the sources of those are. For example, when you're missing source data. And what we did early on is said, let's map the data to what we need and identify when there is missing data and flag that. Since then, the number of hallucinations has dropped drastically. I think that's one example to say, what are the root causes at the end of the day? I think the other is to just have a sense of not removing a human from the loop, and how do you make it easy to QC? For example, we do a lot of risk-adjusted QC and have the right tools in place to trace back to source data. I think it is critical, you said, in a regulated space to ensure you have appropriate checks, but also being mindful that humans also make errors, and how do we think about the right risk-adjusted approach anytime to do QC? We really view this as accelerating the path to the first draft and providing the right tools to get to a high-quality final at the end of the day. Anything you would add?
I just want to add, based on our experience so far, hallucination is so rare. I think one important reason is regulatory writing, for example, CSR. You have all the source document, CSR, TLF. There's no much chance to net AI make up new things because all the prompts actually section by section can track to a source document. So all the material from source documents, typically it's there.
Cindy Grabowski from my group. I see great promise in this, coming from somebody who's led clinical research for 30 years, having a template so the regulatory bodies get used to the quality that we always come, it's always going to come in the same way. After a year working together, how close are you to feeling comfortable enough to actually submit to a regulatory body with what you've come up with? And if it's not tomorrow, how far off do you think it is?
Good question. As I mentioned, we have used PAI in business for our phase 1 study, which means it's submission ready in that sense.
Any other questions over here? I'll get to you first, and I'm closer to you.
This is really great to see. My question is about how do you combat or measure automation bias in the people reviewing the drafts as they do this? So I imagine that as they start using these products, they'll have a high level of vigilance over the quality of the content and performing the human in the loop role. But similar things, but not in the pharma space. Automation bias in users, particularly as they gain confidence in the tool, and particularly as the tool gets more accurate, it gets harder for the humans to spot the gaps. So is there anything you can say about that?
Yeah, I think it's a great point. And I think it's early, honestly, to sort of be able to get to that point. Like today, there is a lot of human review. I think the way we view our role is how do we make it easier to do this on a risk-adjusted basis or create the right tools to spot that and incentivize that you still have appropriate reviews in place. I think this is one of the things us as an industry will have to sort of manage together as AI gets more sort of commonplace as well.
Thank you for the presentation. I also see the potential in this to be great, also with the medical writing background. I guess one thing I noticed is that the primary metric that you guys used was reduction in days to draft number 1, and that was the only metric. Do you guys plan to utilize any other metric to sort of quantify the accuracy and the quality of that first draft, reduction in comments from team members on that document, the type of comments, the quality related aspects? I think metrics is what defines our jobs in industry. So I'm just curious about the endpoints if you guys are looking to explore into other endpoints.
Yeah, good question. Actually, we have a set of predefined metrics, including one of the metrics is turnaround time, as you mentioned, but we also have metrics for document quality in terms of the format, the style, because we provide the Biogen style guide. It's supposed to be compliance with our style guide and also the compliance to the ICH guideline. We have other metrics about the scientific integrity. There's a bunch of metrics there.
The only thing I was going to add is we measure something called edit distance. How much more editing needs to be done, right? And it's hard to look at just the number of comments. You want to look at the degree of the comments. You want to look at the number of the edits, the nature of the edits. We have a couple different things that ultimately feed into that, but I think that's the almost North Star for us. How do we reduce edit distance to get to something deemed high quality at the end of the day?
All right. Thank you so much, Pure AI and Biogen team.